Hi, I'm Susan Bischel, Public Relations Coordinator for the City of Wheaton. As you may be getting ready for the holidays, the City of Wheaton encourages you to take a moment to prepare for emergencies too. I have Sabit Abbasi with the DuPage County Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management and Kim Hayward with FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, here to give us some tips on a wide variety of holiday topics. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Kim, this is the first time we've had you on, so welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, and we wanted to have you share some information about FEMA and how it kind of fits into what we do here as well.
I'd be happy to. So I'm the Community Preparedness Officer in FEMA Region 5, and that covers 6 states. So I'm covering Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. And FEMA is the national coordinating body for emergency management. And the way that we operate is if a disaster occurs in a local area and it's beyond the capability of the local government and the state government to respond to, then the state will request assistance from the federal level. And at that point, if there's a major disaster declaration, then that has to be signed by the president. FEMA will then begin coordinating the federal assistance. So we coordinate amongst all the different federal agencies to help support the state and the local area that's affected by a disaster.
Okay, now in your role, you're based in Chicago. What types of outreach and things are you doing?
Great. So I'm the Community Preparedness Officer handling public outreach and communication. So I'm responsible for national education campaigns like National Preparedness Month, which just happened in September, and then also America's Prepare-a-thon. I'm responsible for youth preparedness projects and also for coordinating volunteers such as the Citizen Corps and CERT teams, community emergency response teams. And in general, I support the state and local governments in anything that they need related to getting citizens better prepared for disasters. So encouraging people to know what their risks are and to take simple steps to prepare themselves.
Okay, can we kind of walk through how all of the agencies kind of work together? If there was, say, like a flood, or there was a few years ago, Sabit, would you talk about, when does it get to just the city level? When does it extend beyond?
Absolutely. Now, for the most part, and for everyday emergencies, I'd say the police departments, fire departments are phenomenal. They're great at handling emergencies. Now, when things start to escalate, they may contact and reach out to us at the county level. We have a 24/7 duty officer, and almost all of us work 24/7. And if there's a need that arises where the city or the local municipality is overwhelmed, they contact us, and then we can provide support and resources. And let's say if we are overwhelmed, then we reach out to the state, which is the Illinois Emergency Management Agency. And then the state will come out and will support us. And let's say if the state is overwhelmed, then we then reach out to, the governor will then reach out to FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. And that can open up a variety of things, such as assistance made available to the residents who have been impacted by disasters. So it really depends on the type of incident it is, type of disaster, and the people that are affected. And there are a number of things that have to be met, certain thresholds and things of that nature.
Okay, so you're working with the city to see the severity of an incident and if need be, like the flooding of a couple years ago.
Yes, so we receive damage assessment reports from this from the city, from the municipalities, their emergency operations center. So we're in constant communication. If an area is impacted, they send us those reports, that information, and then we then take that and then submit it to the state and then to FEMA, and then it really depends what's happening after that.
Do you think there's anything, Kim, that people would be surprised about what the regional office of FEMA is doing?
Oh, so we are the go-between. So we're coordinating with both the national level of FEMA and with the state governments and the local governments. So pretty much everything is coming through us in terms of information sharing. So when an incident happens here in Wheaton, like the flooding, all of that information that's getting fed to the state goes through us at the regional office before it goes to the national level office. And we provide the recommendation as to whether the president should declare this area as a major disaster if it meets the different threshold requirements.
Okay. Well, thanks for giving me kind of a background on how this all fits together. Now that we kind of have a better understanding, I wondered if you could go into holiday-specific emergencies and preparedness. weather around here can be kind of dicey. So, Saba, can you talk about what you can do to prepare for winter weather?
Yeah, as the holiday approaches, holiday season approaches this coming months, people are traveling. They're visiting family members from different parts of the state are coming to this area. So it's really important that we are prepared. Not only are we prepared, but making sure our family is prepared. So let's say if we're planning on going somewhere else out of state, well, identifying what kind of hazards are there. In this area, in this part of the region, we've got winter storms. Well, what if you're going somewhere else? What kind of hazards are there? So if there are people coming here, a number of things they could do. If they're traveling by car, then maybe having an emergency supply kit in their vehicle. So if they are driving through the winter storms and blizzard, you don't know what to expect sometimes. So making sure you have the emergency supply kit in your car. And when I talk about emergency supply kit, I'm talking about blankets, extra food, water, cell phone chargers, things of that nature. Maybe a GPS or a map so that you know where you're going. And if your car breaks down for whatever reason, then at least you have some items with you. And then also, talking about traveling, making sure your car is ready. It's ready if you need to take it to long distance, especially during the cold season. Making sure the wipers are working, the windshield wipers, making sure there's fluid in there, the brakes are okay, the thermostat is working, things of that nature. You need to consider those things. And that's kind of really the gist of it, making sure we're prepared. And then, there are a number of other things. So if we're at home preparing meals for our families, what are some safety tips? So start to think about those things. Holiday shopping, that's something a lot of people do during the holiday season. They go out and shop, and it's a time to go, spend time with family, go shop, but there's still certain things you need to be aware of when you're going out and shopping, computer safety things, viruses, and things of that nature.
And identity theft, and I'm sure that could be kind of a prime time for it. Is there anything else you'd want to add to that, Kim?
During the holidays, one of the biggest causes of fires is from cooking. So things like turkey deep fryers and, improper use of grills or candles or decorations. So just making sure that you're following appropriate tips, like, never leaving your food unattended when you're cooking in the kitchen, never leaving candles that are burning unattended, making sure that if you're using something like a turkey fryer or a grill, that it's always done outside. And then also taking proper precautions when you have children. So as, if you're using the stove, make sure that the cooking is done on the back burner if possible. And knowing how to even treat burns if something like that happens. Rinsing that burn underwater immediately, or, seeking immediate medical attention if the burn is bigger than your fist. So just tips like that are available for residents when it's important to be cautious of these things during the holiday season.
Is there a resource that FEMA has if someone wanted to go online?
We have Ready.gov, which lists all of our preparedness information online and has scenario-based preparedness tips. So we have everything on there from lighting safety to fire safety, what to put in your emergency supply kit if you're traveling during the winter months, and things like that.
Okay, great. I know the Wheaton Fire Department is big on getting out the word about decoration safety, as well as candles, holiday lights and things. Do either of you want to speak about what are some tips for making sure your decorations are safe?
I can talk a little bit about the decorations, if you want to talk about the candles.
Sure.
Decorations, it not only applies for residents, but also the businesses. People that, if the place of business is closed and you're decorating, make sure, if your office is going to be closed, it's not going to impact your office when you're not there, when people aren't there. So it could be like candles or the lights, making sure the lights that you're using, the wires are okay. They're not frayed or anything like that. Extension cords, that's something to be, to think about. It's not just connecting multiple extension cords at this, with one extension cord. They're extension cords, but you can't just link them all together. That could create a fire hazard. So things of that nature. And, Kim mentioned about children. If you do have decorations, making sure you create a kids-free zone so that, the kids don't enter in that area, and you are really mindful of kids entering that area. So that's something to think about. And if you have pets, that's the other thing to think about, is if you have pets are walking around, are they going to trip over something with the wires laying down near Christmas trees and things of that nature. Just being mindful that you are paying attention to those things.
And in terms of candle safety, you want to make sure that you never leave a candle that's burning unattended. And then also, you want to keep anything that's flammable away from the candle. You want the candle to be at least 12 inches away from things like curtains or plants, because if those plants are dry, then they could go up in flames. And also want to be cautious of having candles in your bedroom or other areas where you're sleeping, because if you fall asleep, it's not necessarily a good idea to have a candle burning. So you want to try to keep those candles out of the bedroom. And then even consider things like purchasing battery-operated flameless candles instead of regular candles.
Okay, so give the same effect, more or less?
Exactly.
In a safer way?
In a safer environment.
Okay. Are there any other things you can think of holiday time that we haven't covered? Are there any other hazards?
We talked about traveling. I failed to mention about traveling via airports and trains and stuff. Just being vigilant with what's going on. That people. There's a saying: if you see something, say something. Keep that in mind. If you're going shopping, the same rule applies. If you see something happening, that you need to report, please do. Especially around malls and things of that nature. There are criminals that are waiting for the opportunity. So not leaving purses, not leaving cell phones and things of that nature visible in the car. And if you're going shopping late at night, making sure you're parking the car in a well-lit area. You're not carrying lots of cash. And if you are using credit cards and things of that nature, be aware of the devices that you're using them on. They have skimmers, card skimmers, and things of that nature. Be aware of those. I know it's holiday time, and it's easy to go online, purchase everything, but making sure the websites that you're visiting are legitimate. Nowadays you can see websites pop up like that, and it may look like a legitimate website, but it may not be. So just being aware of those things and being vigilant is really important.
On websites, if you look for the lock or the HTTPS, I believe those would be a safe way to go.
Yeah, and I would also say that during the winter months, it's very important to have a family communications plan in place. So in addition to being vigilant, and having a family communications plan ensures that you can stay connected with your loved ones, especially during hazardous road conditions and winter weather, which often impacts us here in the Chicago area. So just programming emergency numbers in your kids' phones, having alternate backup numbers in case you can't all meet at your house, and telling people where you're going and how long it's going to take you to get there, just in case your car breaks down or something like that, and people know where to look for you.
So just to summarize, we want to make sure we have an emergency supply kit in your car with the essentials you would need in winter weather. You want to make sure that your car is ready for the winter and maintenance is not an issue. You want to make sure you have taken travel safety into account so that people know where you're going. You want to consider candles and how to use them safely. And the same with cooking. You want to make sure that you cook safely. And make sure those decorations are safe too. So if people want to know more about any of these topics that we talked about, you talked about Ready.gov is a good resource for FEMA. And would it be Protect DuPage?
Yes, that's protectdupage.org. And residents can go on there. We've got resources. We link them to Ready.gov, and we've got different videos and resources on there for helping people to know exactly what to put in an emergency supply kit and things, and all of those resources there.
Great. Well, I really appreciate both of you being here, and I hope this helps everyone to have a happy and safe holiday season.
Hi, I'm Kim Hayward from FEMA's Region 5 office in Chicago. And as we come into the holiday season, it's important to take simple steps to protect yourselves and your families from disasters. So just things like having an emergency supply kit in your car or having a family communications plan in place will go a long way towards protecting your loved ones this season. And you can visit Ready.gov to receive additional information.